even had dancing this morning.
Yes, number one.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is such a pleasure to see all of you here. Whether you are joining us online or you are here in the sanctuary, please allow me to say, welcome home. We truly are so glad that you are here. And here at Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, we also want to acknowledge the land on which we gather. This is the ancestral territory of the Wiyot peoples. This territory extends into the communities through most of Humboldt County, and we honor the Wiyot people today. We'd also like to start our service with our welcoming affirmation. Yeah, okay. So we're going to say this affirmation together, and we get to the last line. I invite you to turn to someone near you and greet them by repeating this together. And so we begin. We are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. I honor the path that brought you here today. Up on the screen, you'll see all of our weekly announcements. You can get these details as well as any registration links that are needed on our website. So be sure and check them out if I go too fast or if there's things you'd like to lean into that may not be in this quick announcement. So to begin, we want to talk about yoga with Kathy. We know so many people really love her class. She's sitting right over there. It's a great addition. It's Mondays and Thursdays from 11 to 12 noon. However, there will not be classes in August, so I want to make a special note of that. Also, oh, that's me. I'm speaking as I'll be your guest speaker, your not so guest speaker next week. And also to mention the healing service, which that's kind of a funny slide there, but we'll be doing this. Yeah, I don't know. Something went weird. But we will be doing this again the first Wednesday of every month, so August 2nd from 6 to 7:30, and we will be holding this one on Zoom. We are going to do some in person, but I still have some details to work out on that. So we will be doing this one on Zoom as well. It's a temperamental little thing. Oh, and then it goes too far. All right. Bridge House, and I don't see Bev this morning. I think she may be joining us online. So I know that for Bridge House this year, Bev said there are only a few kids that are actually of the age that we need backpacks for, but would really love to have donations so that she can fill all the backpacks that we have with all the goodies that are needed to make school just a great experience and make sure that they are well supplied for the school year. So please be sure you can donate online or here. Just make sure to specify in the comments that that is specifically for Bridge House. Oh my gosh. I clicked it once, I swear. Woo! We need social media people because I need help. Like, I'm not even touching it and it's still doing things.
Still looking for media people.
Yeah, this is why we need.
Whatever pops up there, just talk about it.
This is why we need people, because, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, if this is something you'd be interested, either something that you know or something you'd be interested in learning, please talk to Reverend Angelica. Speaking of social media and other events, come on, do your thing. There. I want to go ahead and bring Scott up for a minute to talk a little bit more about social media. Oh, and Marianne, if you want. Yeah.
Marianne,
This is a brave thing. She looks at me getting in front of an audience and goes, I can't believe you actually do that, so I'm surprised you're actually up here. So we spent our day, what did you do on Saturday? We spent our day yesterday upgrading, changing, adjusting, and improving the Facebook page. We now have a new profile photo for it, as opposed to the blurry gold thing that we did. We tried to make it represent inclusiveness and show the name of the center as opposed to what we had before. And Marianne, who is an expert in Instagram, I always brag when possible, 106,000 followers that she has, has now got our Instagram account up to 12. 2 of which we think are bots, but we'll take them right now. So if you wanted to say a little about what you're doing for Instagram, just say it into this.
Currently I have 3 posts on Instagram, and what I want to do, the very first post was a picture of the center with Sunday hours, letting people know that we're on Zoom or in person and where we are. And that's how I want to start the page, is by answering some of the questions about what is science of mind, what do we believe, start with the foundation, and then after that I will add posts about what's going on in the center. I like to find inspirational quotes within the philosophy, and I will have those up, and I don't know, it's just going to grow. I'm looking forward to it. It's, for me, a creative project, so I'm looking forward to developing this. So if you have any ideas, let me know.
And if you want to find us, not us, oh, you can find us too, but if you want to find our social media, Facebook, it's Eureka CSL. And the Instagram account is Eureka Center for Spiritual Living. And if you're on either of those, please find us, like us, share us, and all the other stuff that one would do with social media. We're looking to continue to develop. And Karen also mentioned that I could say real quickly, we're going to have, we don't have a slide for it yet, it'll probably start next week, August 18th, mark it on your calendars. It will be the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living's night at the North Coast Repertory Theater, a very powerful drama called Pintaro. We'll talk about that more as time goes on. Okay. Thank you, Karen.
I love it. Lots of good stuff going on. Speaking of good stuff going on, you've heard us talk about SOAR. That's going to be down at Asilomar, and I know I mentioned briefly yesterday that there are day passes. The day passes run from $75 to $260. So the reason that I mentioned the day passes, and I know it's like a 6-hour drive for us to get down there, but let's say that you split it and you drive 3 hours down to Santa Rosa. You can rent a room from like Airbnb for $60. So you could take that trip, that a full week in Asilomar is a little over $1,000, but you could cut that almost like by at least half and spend $300 to $400 and still be there and still bask in all of the CSL-ness of Asilomar if you're interested. So it is a way to kind of reduce the cost of that and still have the experience. So I wanted to mention, please consider that as well if it's something you might be interested in. Next is our bookstore. Our special this month is Joel Goldsmith books, which are 20% off. Also, the little pantry, thank you for everyone for continuing to remember to fill the little pantries. I know we have staff here on Mondays from noon to 4 that can put things in, or you can bring them on Sundays, and we fill out both the cabinet here as well as the little box up front. We're looking for baby food, pop-top cans, and shelf-stable milks and juices.
We really need ramen noodles at the moment.
Oh, we need ramen noodles? That's new. Okay. We need ramen noodles. That's an easy one usually.
We need everything. It's pretty empty. Yeah, that's true. We need everything.
We need everything, they said. So please be sure to remember it this week in your shopping trips. And then next I want to go ahead and bring Kathy up to talk about our member of the month. They're not here, so we're not going to talk about them? Okay. We're not going to talk about them.
Yeah! It's a secret.
You are sworn to secrecy. None of you know this information on the screen. Okay.
Unless they're online.
Yeah, unless you're online, and then pretend you didn't see it. It's like Christmas when you used to find all of your presents before they were wrapped, and then you still were like, oh, this is amazing. Okay, moving on. Our theme this month is Speaking Truth, and our new chant is Source Expressing. So I'll go ahead and lead us in that, and we'll kind of begin to get into our contemplative part of our service today. I am source expressing, I'm source expressing, I am source expressing, Om Shanti Om. Breathing in with me, breathing out in unity, breathing in with me, Om Shanti Om. I am source expressing, I'm source expressing, I am source expressing, Om Shanti Om. Filled with love and grace for the entire human race, filled with love and grace, Om Shanti Om. I am source expressing, I'm source expressing, I am source expressing, Om Shanti Om. God in all I see, God is all I want to be, God in all I see, Om Shanti Om. I am God expressing, I'm God expressing, I am God expressing, Om Shanti Om. Now I'd like to invite Les up for our contemplative reading.
I'm reading from Creative Mind and Success by Ernest Holmes. The atmosphere created by a real lover of humanity is so powerful that although their other shortcomings may be many, still the world will love them in return. To him who loveth much, much will be forgiven. People are dying for real human interest, for someone to tell them that they're all right. Which person do we like the best? The one who is always full of trouble and fault-finding, or the one who looks at the world as their friend and loves it? The question does not need to be asked. We know that we want the company of the person who loves and loving forgets all else.
face of God, I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
And so, don't ask, tell. I am grateful. I am grateful to the all, to Spirit, to God, to us. I am grateful for the oneness that makes everything doable. The oneness that creates absolute acceptance. Not based on any specific agreement or any condition, but just, we are. And I know that this power is unstoppable, that this power is perfect and complete, that this power is us, and this will be our outreach, and this will be our effect on the world. I feel it happening even as I speak. And I give thanks. And so it is.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
And now, with just as deep gratitude, I welcome Reverend Angelica.
Thank you, Jackson and Les. You did beautifully. What a way to set up the morning. Everything so far has been really good, eh? Oh, my Canadian living years in Canada are coming out. So this month we've been working on freedom. Freedom from illusions last week. Freedom from, I don't even remember. It's sort of odd to me because it's week 4, which means it's supposed to be the last week of the month, and yet it's not. Next week will be the last week of the month. But today I picked freedom from judgment. And you know, what I know is that we all perceive the things that are happening out in the world. Yet we're learning here that out there is always a reflection of in here. And as Einstein reminded us, we cannot solve a problem at the level of the consciousness that created the problem. So here we are in this faith tradition, learning how to change our thinking and change our life. Has anybody heard that statement before? It's amazing to me that here I am. I've been in this teaching for a long time. I've been a minister for 38 years. And still, almost every day, I find something in myself that needs to be realigned with the one, with the truth of my being. And what I'm finding is that not only with myself, but probably with all of us here and all of us online, etc., is the thing that gets in the way the most of us being in aligned is judgment. Now, I go to the dictionary. The dictionary says judgment is cognitive process of reaching a conclusion. Doesn't sound bad, does it? 2, the capacity to assess situations and draw conclusions. Dr. Holmes says in the Glossary of the Science of Mind that judgment is merely the law of cause and effect operating in our lives. And what this tells me is that the universe doesn't hold anything against anyone, but we do. We get involved or embroiled in our belief systems. Maybe we're told something when we were young. Maybe we learned something throughout our experiences in our life. But we hold a judgment, and we've made judgment to be a dirty word. Not realizing that we're judging things all the time. As soon as somebody walks in the door and you see them, you judge them. Maybe it's oh, that's a man, or that's a woman, or maybe it's, oh, nice dress, or nice shirt, or maybe it's, oh, no, not them. But our judgments come up immediately, don't they? And they're not necessarily bad. But we get to this place, we get so enmeshed in our beliefs that we get to this place where we're saying, or where we think, I'm right and you're wrong if you don't believe the way I do. Or you're saying, they're right and I'm wrong because I don't believe the way they do. And we fight to keep our beliefs intact. We fight in our minds. We use a lot of judgment. I know I've used a lot of judgment lately about things that are happening in our world. And I find myself getting angry. And I might be sitting there watching something on television and I find my jaw gets really tight and my butt muscles get really tight. And it's like, there's this part of me that wants to lash out. But if I'm to honor this teaching, what I need to do is remember that the universe holds nothing against anyone. And in fact, Thomas Trord tells us that the universe creates by contemplation. And this is how we create as well. And so the current collective consciousness has taught us to jump up and down and yell and scream and get mad and communicate outrage over various situations. And while this might feel like it's right at the moment, it's not. That too is God. It's really hard to think that way. That too, those things that we don't believe in, those people that are professing those things that we don't believe in, that they could be God too. How could God want, women's health rights taken away? It's ridiculous. However, while this might feel really righteous to be angry about it, it's largely proven ineffective at changing the circumstances. So again, I think all of us were called to be in a faith tradition like the science of mind, or religious science as it used to be called, because we're light workers. That's the truth of our being. There's the thing, that God, the presence inside of us that is using us or allowing us to serve it by being light workers. And by being a light worker, I personally have to get off my high horse and start remembering the truth of absolutely everybody. Well, so what I know is that change, in order for change to manifest out here, it has to manifest in here first. And so judging the outer circumstances just empowers those circumstances. If I'm dwelling on it, especially with anger, which has a lot of energy with it, then I'm manifesting it, more of it. Right? It's like fear. That's where anger is based in, is fear. If I'm standing in fear, I'm manifesting more fear. I wasn't going to say this, but so I live on Primrose, right by Cutton Elementary School, and my landlord texts me one day and says, there was a house break-in right down the street from us. Be careful. And immediately, what happens? Oh my God, did I like my car? I must have gone out and checked my car 3 times that night. And are my doors locked? Where's my cats? Maybe I shouldn't leave my purse on that table right by the front door. All these things went through my being. Immediately going into fear. Well, I stayed in that fear for a couple of days, and then somebody texted me and said they heard on the television that the people that had actually been 2 people that they had done it had been arrested. And so it's like, But you know what? Last night I went out and checked my car again, just before I went to bed, to make sure I had locked it. So that fear is like the flu. You catch it and it gets really bad, and then it sort of lingers, right? And so we have to do what we can do to step out of fear. If we really believed that this infinite intelligence and unconditionally loving presence was absolutely everything, including us, the chairs we're sitting on, the air we're breathing, and everything, then we wouldn't live in fear. So it's like we constantly have to bring ourselves back to it. Now, I've sort of fallen in love with this guy on Facebook named Griff Griffin. He works for the Park Services. He used to be the host of Animal Planet's show, Wild Jobs. And I've been following him on Facebook. If I was a few years younger, I would definitely try to flirt with him because I know he's single. But unfortunately, so I'm going to read you something that he wrote because it was so powerful. He says, okay, I admit it. Sometimes I ear hustle, which was formerly known as eavesdropping. I only do it if someone is talking super loud in our shared space. So there I was, minding my own business, or pretending to, when the debate at the table next to me got so loud that the waitress and I exchanged worried glances. I nodded at her, hoping that she understood that I meant I would get her back if needed. This restaurant is my favorite kind to go to, and even though the patrons are often of a different ideological culture than me, I feel at home there. My dad called these places greasy spoons. We sought them out because they always had the best biscuits and gravy. In most ways, these were his people. This is where we had our best talk. Today's Greasy Spoon debate of opinions was about forest practices, which is why I was so tuned in. Dad's folks speaking on one of my topics, not super unusual. It's just that now I was ready for this. I disagreed with both of their opinions, though it was obvious they had similar amounts of experience as me. But based on my recent exposure to some great studies, good science, indigenous folks, and a bunch of old loggers, I briefly considered entering the fray to practice navigating controversy. Then one of the participants used some dialogue stoppers. "You're an idiot. You haven't got a damn thing I told you." His friend tried to calm him down, but he just laughed unusually loud and mockingly. Finally, the calmer man asked, "Are you trying to help me understand something and be better off for it? Or are you trying to make me feel stupid?" For the first time since I'd sat down, the restaurant was quiet. At this point, I didn't care if they knew I'd been listening, and I whipped out my phone and repeated his question into the recording app. It was an important question that I wanted to think more about later. It reeked of authenticity. I also repeated his next words out loud. "Tell me the truth so I can react to you appropriately, because friends get one thing and bullies get another." His tone was matter of fact and not threatening. Again, their table was quiet. It was not only my dad's training that prevented me from standing up and clapping, but the dialogue-stopping man shifted the conversation to avoid having to answer, and I lost track of their debate. Still, I had gained a good reminder from them. The next time I start getting reactive in a conversation, I will first ask myself, am I trying to help them understand something and be better off for it, or am I trying to make them feel stupid? And do I want to be a helpful teacher/student or a debate winner? These are the kind of questions we should ask ourselves if peace and understanding are really our goals. Sometimes it's hella hard to remember that. Almost impossible sometimes. But once we understand our own intentions, we can question others the same way. Isn't that a powerful piece of writing? So in our faith tradition, we learn that no matter how ugly the circumstances, there is a divine presence there, because it's always there. And this awareness allows us to look past those appearances and to see straight to the truth, to see the core reality, and that's reality with a capital R, that's always present, no matter what. And once we can see that core reality, we then can ask, what is Spirit's highest idea here? What is Spirit's highest idea here? We're also invited in this way of thinking to see the intrinsic worth of every person we encounter. Every person. I was in a store the other day, and there was a nicely dressed man in the vegetable area, like I was, but he really needed some deodorant. And I remember moving away, and then he moved over to look at the same things, and I moved a little bit further, and he moved a little bit further. And I was so glad to get my vegetables and leave that area. And I thought, here I am judging him. How do I know he didn't just finish some hard job? I mean, it has been sunny and warm lately, hasn't it? Yay. But I saw something else, or I felt something else. And I had to remember to look past that and to see the strength, to see the presence, instead of what I was judging to be an error. So again, we're invited to become helpful teachers/students instead of debate winners. Do you know, in this teaching, in fact, I have to say to you that I'm so grateful. I woke up this morning so grateful for our spiritual community, especially after the past week of birthday celebrations. I felt, as I wrote down what I had gotten and what thank you notes I had to write, etc., I felt so loved and so honored and so appreciated. And I realized that one of the things I realized was that, yes, I'm your teacher. And I love it. Like the last time we had a Silomar, had a conference at a Silomar, somebody came up to me and said that I had been on their practitioner panel and they had never forgotten me. Now that was what, 10 minutes of their experience? And I thought, wow, you know, okay, yes, I'm a teacher, but I have to tell you, and I remind everybody this all the time, I'm a student. That's my job. That's why I became a minister. When people say, why did you become a minister? It's not because I can help people and I can show them the way to God and blah, blah, blah. It's because so I can get paid to study. And guess what? My life is an education. Your lives are also part of my education. All of the stuff that's happening in the world is part of my education. And it's my job as a student and as a teacher to see the highest in absolutely everything. And it's your job doing that as well. That's what brought you into here. Maybe what brought you into this kind of teaching is learning how to manifest things in your life. And after a while, you realize you don't have to really pay a lot of attention to manifesting, because if you're living the life of acknowledging the divine and absolutely everything comes to you before you realize you want it. It blows me away when I think about this idea about seeing the intrinsic worth of absolutely everyone. Because we tend to think, oh, that person has worth, them I'm not so sure. I know that when I had lunch with the Dalai Lama and 12 other people who were also presenters at a conference in India, I was like, oh, I've sat with the Dalai Lama. He touched my hands. He gave me a scarf. You know, I was like, all this ego stuff, right? And then I realized, and he even said, when I was telling him a story about a medal that a gentleman in my church at the time had asked me to have the Dalai Lama bless, he said, no, you bless it. And he put it back in my hands, and he put his hands over mine, and there was a moment of silence. It's like, okay, this is just a man who's doing what the universe is desiring him to do. So this is my next point. In this whole idea of freeing ourselves from that judgment that is negative, we have to remember that we're co-creators with the infinite. Life is not happening to us, it's happening through us. And it's happening according to our predominant thoughts and feelings. So it's really important, as I do constantly, to examine, what am I thinking? Or what am I feeling? Because it's our thinking and our feeling that makes us feel separate. And there's no way we could be separate. If everything is God, if God is omnipresent, where is it not? It doesn't fill up the space and then, oh, got to move around that person, and then fill up the rest of the space, right? It's absolutely everything. And this too is really important. This is a power that we're directing. We're directing this power, as I said, through our thoughts and our feelings. So I'm going to tell you that at one point I said to myself, this is the easiest religion imaginable. And yet it's not. Because you're going to be studying, you're going to be working for the rest of your life. Because we tend to get mesmerized by what's happening out there. We buy into this story and that story and this story and that story. And then we have to stop and breathe and remember, those are not our stories. Our story is only one story. All there is this thing that I call God because it's a short word for something that I can't name. All there is this divine energy. It's the life force that's flowing in absolutely in everything, and we cannot get away from it at all. And it wants to be directed. It wants for us to serve it. So, there's a question here that were in the notes that I got from the Global Vision team. They say the good news is that's who we already are. We just talked about that. Can we shift our focus, let go of judgment and anger, and see the truth of each person and ourselves? And can we get to that part where it doesn't take us a few days to shift our purpose or a few years? It's like, oh, wait, what am I thinking? You know, I tell our students that, you know, this mind, this divine energy is so amazing that you could say, okay, I'm assigning part of my mind to gently, easily, and humorously remind me when I'm walking down the wrong path. I want to do it through humor. You know, gently, easily, and humorously. So I'll find myself thinking something, and then something happens that makes me start laughing. And I'll go, oh, that's what I was doing. I mean, I've had so many experiences with driving down the street, you know, in my mind, right? And then I'll suddenly see a bumper sticker that says, all there is love. Okay, I remember. The universe is going to give us signs and symbols all along our path because if we ask for them, because that's what it does. So remember, quite a while ago, I guess, but some of you might know this anyway, in India, there is the idea of Indra's net. And it's a net that is covering absolutely everything, and it sparkles. It has jewels in all the corners of where the strings of the net, it's a big web, right, where they meet. And each one of us is one of those jewels. And the interesting thing about this net, which was decided, you know, and talked about in Hinduism or, you know, various traditions eons ago, is now what science is calling entanglement. So here we are, each one of us, a little corner, a little jewel in a corner of that net where we're joined together. I think one thing, and zip, it goes through that whole net, and everybody thinks the same thing. Now we're calling it entanglement. But the truth is, we're really all connected. So if I'm seeing crap out there, I gotta clean it up in here. Now, I'm going to tell you again that I think that there is an evolutionary change going on right now. And what happens when a change comes? For me, I see it as the old might versus right. And so the might is really fighting to stay alive. And so all kinds of stuff happens. And it's like Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton were doing a workshop that I attended, and he said, you know, we're moving up to this, we're in like in the 7th level or 7th age or whatever they called it. But anyway, that you're moving up, life gets really, really good, and then all kinds of stuff starts happening, and you slide down to this place in between the next evolutionary change, and in that is chaos. It's where everything, I mean, this is, I think, where we are. We're starting to move back up again. But we're seeing all the chaos that's creating this change. So my question for all of us today is, will we continue to be judgmental in a negative way, thinking it's my, and treating other people like it's my way or the highway? And when I wrote that last night, I thought, oh my God, that could be it's my way or the highway phrase that we've heard so many times before. Or you could think of it the highway with capital letters, high and way. That's what I want. I want to live in the highway. I want my way to be the highway. And I want to be an example of that. And I want all of us, in some respect, I know that all of us, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here, want the same thing as well. So I'm knowing for us this week that we more quickly see where we're being really judgmental. And instead of continuing with that thread of being judgmental, we allow ourselves to go, wait, I'm going to use the energy that I am, the divine love, and I'm going to beam that out. And the universe will give me something to say if I'm having a conversation with somebody where I'm getting judgmental that changes it. Like, what was that phrase in Griffiths? Wait just a minute. Come on. Are you trying to help me understand something and be better off for it, or are you trying to make me feel stupid? And the segue is that you go into, tell me the truth so I can react to you appropriately, because friends get one thing and bullies get another.
Thanks for repeating that.
What?
Thank you for repeating that.
I'll put it in the Monday newsletter as well. But this is what I want to know first. Let's go to our affirmation. And let's do this together. I am as free as a bird, catching wind currents and gliding with the sun on my wings. My life is one of liberty and lightness of being. Thank you, Susan. And let's treat. For those of you that are newer, our form of prayer is called spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. So first I recognize, once again, that all there is this divine energy that is moving, flowing, becoming, unbecoming. It just is, and it is absolutely everywhere, including within us. And I know that within us, this energy is waiting to be directed. And so with these words this morning, I direct it, and you can choose to accept this as your own or not, but I'm speaking it in the first person for all of us. I choose right now to direct this energy into a place of love. I choose to set aside a portion of my mind that will gently and easily and humorously remind me when I'm going down the wrong road. I choose to live on the highway, in the highway. I choose to experience and express divine love all the time. I know that love is the greatest healing agent there is. And so I celebrate this with every fiber of my being. And I declare for each one of us this week that we allow ourselves to see where we might have become habitually judgmental with something, someone, some circumstance. And we go, oh, there's a place I can change my mind. There's a place I can change how I feel. And so we let go and we let God do what God does best. Lead us, guide us, move us into a place of greater love. Love for all humanity, for absolutely everyone. And so we give thanks for this. We give thanks for knowing that there's always something that we can do to live in a greater way. There's always something that we can do to improve ourselves. We allow ourselves to align with the divine. And this is a good thing. A very good thing. So I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for us. I'm grateful for the work this little group can do in this world. I'm grateful to the one, that one power, that one life. And as Dr. Holmes says somewhere in the textbook, there is only one life. That life is God's life, and that life is perfect. And that life is the life I'm living now. So I celebrate this for all of us. And I release these words into divine law, knowing that they are already so, and so it is. So our gift of music this morning is from Les, so let's give her a hand.
When I saw on the schedule for this week that our subject was freedom from judgment, I thought of yet another means of freedom from judgment that I use a lot, and that is just not taking myself seriously.
When you first whispered in my ear and your fingers through my hair, I wasn't really clear that you'd noticed I was there. So I swallowed my surprise. I tried to look cool. I told you that I wouldn't be your fool. Then I went back and down a trail and smacked into a tree. Went out for a sail and fell into the sea. Got up on a stage, forgot the words to my song, and figured out that I'd been wrong. I had no dignity to lose. Just what I told you wasn't true. If I can be a fool anytime I choose, then I can be a fool for you. should I have a problem looking silly when I already do it so well? I just get the fall and never make the climb. Do nothing much at all. Get old before my time. Stay out of the game 'cause I'm afraid I might lose. Or beat myself and keep my neighbors amused. I can pretend that I was shy and let the moment go. Time would scurry by and you would never know. I may have some inhibitions, maybe 3 or 2 or 1. That's no excuse to turn and run. I have no dignity to lose. I'll let my laughter see through. If I can be a fool anytime I choose, then I can be a fool for you. If I can be a fool anytime I choose, then I can be a fool for you.
What an absolutely perfect fun song. Thank you so much, Les. I really love that. Yeah, let's give her another hand. That was beautiful. And so now we come into our time of gifts and offering. This is where we get to take that energy of love and light in the form of prosperity to share it back with this beautiful community so that we can then take it to go out and spread that love and light into the world. And so I just invite you to bring whatever is yours to give this day, whether that is a check or even just an affirmation, or if you are online joining us to click the Donate Now button, and just take that to your heart as we say together this affirmation. I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses the center, all in it and beyond, and so it is. That is just overflowing with joy, that we accept every gift and every giver, knowing that each has been placed here in perfect divine right timing, supporting the center and all of the work that we do here, as well as the hands of every person that calls this center home, so that we may continue to shine that light and love out beyond the walls of this center to this beautiful community and this world. For this and so much more, I am so grateful, and so it is. And now who would like to come up to say our community statement of inclusion? I might even get the slide to obey. Look. And we have it written down here, so you don't even have to see the slide. Who's feeling brave enough to come up and do that today?
Come on.
I knew somebody couldn't handle the silence.
Suspense. Pardon?
We could do it together. No, I'll do it next week.
Okay. Okay, we, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remains learners and listeners so we may grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. And please join me saying, we know our beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well.
Perfect. Thank you, Baral. And now I would like to invite Donna up and invite everyone to stand as we sing our community song, All the Colors of the Rainbow. Song.
This is written by Les Craig, in case you forgot. CDs are in the lobby.
Yeah.
All the colors of the rainbow, they are light, they are light. All the people like the rainbow, we are one. One more time, let me hear you sing it. All the colors of the rainbow, they are light, they are light. All the people like the rainbow, they are one. Everybody comes from somewhere. We all have faces and names. We walk our walk and we talk our talk, and the few of us